a real life instance here. This isn't a dramatization. This is the real thing. The court heard an analysis of devices found at his home, found content suggestive of a radicalized Islamic mindset, and included graphic videos of beheadings and other acts of extreme violence. Maybe this case should be shown to Irish schools, because he was 16 at the time. He was an Irish schoolboy. At least he was a schoolboy in Ireland. Whether or not he was Irish or not, it doesn't say. But maybe this should be shown in schools rather than adolescents. Maybe the Dáil should be pushing to have this one shown. When he was arrested, the boy told Gardaí, "I did it. I attacked the guy in the car." When the boy's home was researched, a poster with Arabic writing saying Allahu Akbar or God is great was found, as well as an Islamic State flag and notebook with writing and graphic sketches depicting beheadings. The boy denied the sketches were his. Okay. The court heard he had converted to Islam at the age of 15 and regularly attended Friday night prayers at a mosque in Galway. So there you go. At 15, 16, attended the mosque, Arabic writing all over the walls, Islamic State flags, beheading sketches, and allegedly, and a bee in his bonnet against the Irish Defence Force and their work in Africa. And he just thought he would take it out on a priest who was heading into the barracks.
Absolutely disgraceful. And I do think it's important and makes a difference for everybody to express that this is not how we want the country run, and that it's just completely unacceptable. If you don't know the situation, a couple of years ago, a young lady, Natasha O'Brien, was walking home from work, and she came upon a 24-year-old man. He was shouting homophobic slurs at people across the street, and Natasha decided to intervene and asked him to stop. And in response to that, he brutally beat her and knocked her unconscious. She ended up with a broken nose and a concussion, amongst other things. And the only reason that he stopped at that point is because another man came and ran him off. This is a fully grown 24-year-old man. He's in the army, which is a fucking disgrace. So he's very strong, and she could have died at any point during this assault. Now after this, she's been left unconscious, and he shows that he has absolutely zero fucking concern for whether she's dead or alive, because he starts bragging about it on Snapchat to his friends. And later on, the guards, who are the Irish police, get a hold of him and ask him what happened, and he says that she had initiated the fight. And only when he was confronted with CCTV evidence did he admit to what had actually happened. This fella didn't just go out and do one terrible thing. At every single opportunity, he was the worst possible he was able to be. He goes out and shouts slurs at people to intimidate them. He beats a woman unconscious when she tries to protect them. He only stops because somebody stops him doing it. And then he lies and tries to blame it on her. And at court this week, he was given a 3-year suspended sentence. So he's not going to prison for this. The reason the judge gave for this is he didn't want him to lose his job, and that he at least pleaded guilty and saved Natasha having to go to court. Well, the only reason that he even admitted what he did is because he was shown a video of him doing it. If he could have gotten away with not pleading guilty, he would have put her through whatever the fuck he had to.
Covered this on Monday, maybe Monday I think it was, but there was details that were released immediately, and then they were retracted. So initially when this was reported by the newspapers, we were told that this man was Romanian. I don't know if that's true or not. They retracted it, but details are now coming out on this assault that happened in Cork. So man, 43, we know he's a man, we know he's 43, charged with assault of a woman in her Cork City home. Scene has been cordoned off. We have forensic people in there bringing, look what's that on the ground? A child's buggy. There's a small child's buggy on the ground in front of that house that the guards are checking following the assault. This happened on Monday. He was arrested. He was charged on Wednesday, and now the details are being released today with assault causing harm to a woman arising out of a serious incident, Evergreen Road in Cork on Monday, where the Garda helicopter was involved in the investigation too. Why was the helicopter involved? Because after the man committed this assault on the woman in her own home, he then went on the run. In other words, he was running loose through that area and again, potentially could have injured or assaulted or done who knows what to who knows who in the area. When he was charged and cautioned, the accused replied, "Thanks so much for taking clear measures in this case." This is the attacker saying this to the police, to the guards. "I look forward to being released and going back to my children." He looks forward to being released. Well, his dreams came true because, believe it or not, I don't want to put a spoiler alert in here, but he was released on bail. He's back out again. Detective Garda Houlihan said there was no Garda objection to bail. No Garda objection to bail. He forced his way into a house. He assaulted a woman with a child present. He held her against her will. Then he went on the run in the community, and the guards said they had no objection to bail. Why not? Surely this would be a prime candidate to be locked up or remanded in custody. He is to reside in an address in County Cork. Wonder where that is. The address, signed daily at his local Garda station, keep a curfew to be home between 11 p.m. and 7 a.m. So listen, if you're living in Cork and it's after 7 a.m. but before 11 p.m, this gentleman could be wandering around your street. Probably will. Be of sober habits and have no contact directly or indirectly with the injured party, family or friends. Stay outside of the south side of Cork City. Surrender his passport to the guards. Provide them with phone number and have it turned on at all times. Well, he's got a passport, and he's got a phone, and he's got an address. Defence solicitor Frank Buttimer's application for free legal aid. Here we go again. Taxpayer, if you're listening to this and you're in Ireland and you're working and you're paying tax, you're paying for this. You're paying for this. Defence solicitor Buttimer's application for free legal aid will be decided by Judge Mary Dorgan on the next occasion, as she required a written statement of the defendant's means. Need to know about what his money is. How much has he got in the bank? Is he working? Where's he getting his money from? The accused had to be sworn in to give an undertaking through an interpreter. So he doesn't speak English, or at least he claims he doesn't speak English. That he would surrender his passport to the guards by 6 p.m. on Wednesday, that was last night, and not use or obtain any other travel documentation. Dorgan made it a €5,000 bail, but said no cash lodgement was required. So 5,000 bail, but we don't need any cash off you. Out you go. The court appearance on Wednesday followed the investigation where it was alleged the man fled the scene and was found on waste ground nearby. That's what they needed the helicopter for. Galway. Gardaí appear for witnesses after a young woman attacked in Ballybrit. So this was reported on yesterday initially, and again, trickle information coming out. Witnesses to an attack on a woman in the early hours of the morning, Tuesday morning. The assault on the young woman in her 20s is believed to have occurred at approximately 5:30 a.m. on Tuesday, February the 11th. The young woman was hospitalised with non-life-threatening injuries following the incident. Non-life-threatening, it doesn't matter. She was assaulted. Why are you trying to water it down by saying there were non-life-threatening injuries? She was assaulted. Guards are now appearing for any witnesses or those who may have information, such as the camera footage from the area, to come forward. Those with camera footage, including motorists and cyclists who were in the Monivea Road or Ballybeenmore areas in close proximity to Ballybrit Heights between 5:15 in the morning and 5:45 in the morning, are asked to provide it to investigating Gardaí. It's Thursday. Sunday, attack. Monday, attack. Tuesday, attack. Can you see a pattern forming here? People are saying, well, it's not that bad. I mean, these things only happen sporadically. They're literally happening daily. At least they have been for the last 3 days. Make of that what you will. What message is that sending to the people of Cork? What message has been sent to the people of Dublin. Look at the Dublin City Council meeting a few days ago, where they refused to debate the crime crisis in Dublin, refused to debate it, when 2 independent councillors brought it up.
There were some videos made on TikTok and that kind of thing. Now, because of this petition and because of the furore that happened online, we then started getting death threats and all kinds of abuse. One of my teachers, black teacher, got horribly racially abused, you know, being called the N-word, the C-word, compared to a monkey, all kinds of horrible, horrible things. And I'm talking 15 to 20, you know, comments, you know, it's not just one thing. There were the death threats, there was the bomb threat. The police had to come and search the school for bombs one morning. Both that teacher of mine and me, we had to take, lifts into school and so on because we were frightened to travel. Mm-hmm. One of my teachers had an attempted break-in at her flat. One of my teachers had a brick thrown through her window. We had bottles thrown into the yard. There was loads of intimidation and aggression. That was all coming from the outside. We had to hire security. The police were outside often. And it was a terrifying time. We also had to close the school early just before the holidays because we were meant to go out on some school trips and they just couldn't happen. It was awful. And so
when was this, Catherine?
So this was about March last year.
March last year.
And during Ramadan. Mm-hmm. Now, what was also interesting was what happened at school, which was that, so during Ramadan, some of the Muslim children fast, some of them don't. Obviously, we have Muslim children who cover their heads, some of them don't. And obviously, we had some children who prayed, and some of them did not. But what happened was that the culture changed over the days that this was happening. And the children who were praying, some of them would then go to the break hall food table and intimidate the other ones who were not fasting because they'd chosen not to fast for whatever reason. They're Muslim, but they don't want to fast. And they were made to feel, I suppose, as if they were, doing something wrong by not fasting. And so they were intimidated into fasting and they weren't able to take the food. One girl, she was suddenly started wearing a hijab, even though she didn't wear one before. One girl dropped out of the choir because music is considered haram. All of these things, more children started praying, and so on. And the intimidation, so there was the horrible intimidation and aggression that was happening outside, but then there was the intimidation that was happening between the children. Now, the thing is, it's my duty as headmistress to protect all of the children, not just one particular group. So this includes the Muslim children who are being intimidated, but it also includes everyone, so that everyone can feel happy and comfortable in our environment. So the governors took the decision to ban prayer because obviously of what had happened and we were in danger. I mean, our lives were literally in danger. So prayer was banned. And it was fascinating because as soon as that happened and prayer stopped, everything just went back to normal. The children were happy again. Everything was fine and calm and lovely and everyone was mixing across the races. It was just, that incident, that time, totally transformed the school into something that wasn't very nice. And we're fighting for, the right to be able to run the school as we see fit, really.
And because God has written every name from before creation in the book of life. And until those names are presented when they're to be presented, to be given a chance to leave that name in the book of life or have it blotted out, God's going to intercede, and he's going to intercede more than once throughout our history to ensure that that happens.
Around these Ishtar and the Nephilim and Jesus, like if they were to meet with Jesus and do battle, what would happen?
Well, the fallen angels would be gone. Whatever happens to immortal beings,
they're afraid of him.
Yeah, they're afraid of him, absolutely. And they don't want to encounter Jesus before they have to. And so one of the reasons for creating the spurious offspring, used in the ancient sense, is to do what the angels, fallen angels, are fearful to do. They do not want to get blood on their hands.
Oh,
So they use their spurious offspring and the followers of them to slander God, because they won't.
they don't want to be caught doing it.
No, they know the power of the God Most High.